Estuary Data Mapper, Web Coverage Service, and Decision Support Tools. This video assumes you are familiar with Estuary Data Mapper basics and are familiar with developing or working with decision support tools. Estuary managers and researchers use decision support tools to investigate potential water quality impacts from development, other land uses, and climate change. To analyze the effects of sea level rise on coastal resources. To make decisions about conservation, restoration, and planning, and to evaluate the consequences of management actions on ecosystem services. Some of the decision support tools used by estuary managers and researchers include non-point source pollution and erosion comparison, Open Inspect. Sea level affecting marshes model, SLAM. Habitat Priority Planner, and Integrated Valuation of Ecosystem Services and Trade-offs, INVEST. The effectiveness of these tools can be enhanced when they access the types of data that EDM provides. EDM uses Standard Web Coverage Service WCS queries to retrieve data. EDM logs a session's WCS queries in a text file that any user can open and study. Researchers with sufficient programming experience can use that log to start analyzing and crafting a WCS command to ingest the necessary data into decision support tools or their own applications. This video briefly introduces WCS, walks through a basic EDM session, and shows you where to find the session log. EDM and WCS. The Web Coverage Service Standard is defined and maintained by the Open Geospatial Consortium, OGC. The standard defines how digital geospatial information can be shared and retrieved via the World Wide Web. Geospatial data is collected by buoys, digitized maps, models, and satellites. The types of geospatial data collected from these sources include UTC date-time, longitude, latitude and elevation depth coordinates, and measured modeled values such as temperature and salinity. The WCS defines how to share digital geospatial data, called coverages, in the form of points, polylines, polygons, and grids. Geospatial data can be used for client-side rendering or display, which is what EDM does, or as input into scientific models or other client software, such as decision support tools. For more detailed information on the OGC and the WCS standard, go to opengeospatial.org/standards/WCS. Using WCS commands, EDM can read in large and/or time-varying data, as it is streamed on demand from the EPA, NOAA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, the U.S. Geological Survey, and many other agencies and organizations. All of the data products you can select from EDM's Data tab are delivered using WCS commands. How EDM retrieves data using WCS. For small static data, EDM reads from built-in files, for example, estuary borders, that are included in the EDM application directory. But for large and/or time-varying data, EDM reads the data as it is streamed on demand from specific remote web server applications, web services, hosted at EPA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, and other agencies and organizations. When you select EDM's Retrieve and Show Selected Data button, EDM requests data from EPA's RSIG server, WCS. Then, RSIG server requests data from external web services, such as NOAA or USGS, using commands such as the one shown here. This WCS command will stream data from its source to EDM, which displays the data in its display window. Let's step through an EDM session where we request different types of data: shapefiles, polygon polylines, and gridded hourly data. Then, we'll open the EDM log file to see the WCS queries that EDM sent. On the Zoom Maps tab, we will select U.S. state and estuaries borders. Zoom to Florida. On the Get Data tab, we will select 3 data sources representing different types of geospatial data: points, polylines, and gridded data. First, select buoys, National Data Buoy Center, NDBC, and water temperature. This is points data. Next, select Coastal Vulnerability, CVI risk. This is polylines data. Finally, select nitrogen, CMAC grid, hourly NOx. CMAC nitrogen deposition data is gridded. For the date, enter September 22, 2012. Select the Retrieve button. After EDM retrieves the data, select the Save Data tab. EDM will save the files to the directory listed at the top of the screen. The directory must already exist on your computer for EDM to use it. Select the Save Data Shapefile button. EDM subsets and retrieves the map lines for states and estuaries to the specified directory. Locate and open the directory containing the EDM application on your computer. In that directory, look for a file called edm_out.txt. You will want to save a copy of the EDM out file. EDM overwrites this file with each new EDM session. Open the EDM out file in a text editor or file viewer. Here, we are launching a DOS shell to use the type command to view the file contents. The EDM out file is a simple text file that lists all of the WCS queries EDM executed during that session. Consider these logged queries as a starting point for your own discoveries. Crafting WCS queries is a trial and error process, and each type of data carries its own idiosyncrasies to either work with or work around. So, the practical way to learn WCS queries is to simply run EDM, retrieve data, read the resulting EDM out file, and start running the queries yourself. For more information on each of the queries shown in this video, review the WCS page on the EDM website. If you need help crafting your queries or have questions about EDM's use of WCS commands, please contact edm@epa.gov.